Now, you might remember that we spoke to Irishman living in New York, Ray Byrne, back in June, as he set off with two others for an epic challenge to row across the Atlantic from the USA to Ireland. And we spoke to him just as he was heading out from the coast of the US. I think they were 1 or 2 days in at that point. He joins me now, hopefully from somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic. Ray, how are you? Can you hear me?
Hey, Catherine, what's going on?
I am in good form. More importantly, how are you? Where are you? And how are you all doing?
We're great. We're just coming off the Grand Banks off the coast of Newfoundland in Canada, so like the foggiest place on the planet. And we're about halfway. We've had a few ups and downs along the way to get here, but we're feeling strong, and yeah, we're looking forward to the second half.
So I know you had a little mishap that had you anchored in Cape Cod for a little while. So when did you actually leave and set off for the second time to try and make the mission across for the second time?
Yeah, so we had an electrical failure with the solar panels just after Oakview, and after a big storm, everyone went down, and we kind of thought it was over then, and that was only 8-9 days into the trip, and we managed to get towed into Cape Cod, get the repairs done we had to get done, and then we were probably there like 2.5 weeks getting it done, and then we set off again. And the whole thing is to get off the coastline in these trips because the tide keeps dragging you back in. But so we had to beat the tide in New York, then in Cape Cod, and then the weather pushed us to Nova Scotia. So we were trapped kind of endless fog off the coast of Nova Scotia in Canada for nearly 2 weeks, just getting out by the tide. So we finally did that. That was probably the hardest part of the trip so far. You just can't do anything. It's just this kind of nothingness, and you're just dependent on your instruments to tell you that you didn't go anywhere.
And come here, remind us again what sort of boat you're in and who's with you.
Yeah, so it's myself, Ryan, and Chris. There's three of us. It's a small, like 25-foot boat. It's a rowboat, so it has 2 rowing positions, and then a little cabin in the back that you can't really kneel up in, and that we've discovered fits 3 guys if you kind of stack them on top of each other.
So altogether then, how many days have you been at sea to get to where you are currently?
We, so far, 40-something, I think.
40-something
We've been
days.
at sea, just over 40, and we're kind of thinking it's going to take us, the second half should be a lot quicker than the first half. That's what we're telling ourselves anyway. But once we get out into the open past, and then the North Atlantic drift should push us on a good bit to get us over to the west coast of Ireland.
What's been the hardest part, Ray? What's been the most difficult part?
I think, like, sometimes, well, we had a lot of, like, the water maker broke, which was, a lot of our systems have failed. Like, the boat herself has been amazing, like, really stable. We've been in some huge weather where we felt really safe in the boat. So that's a lot of confidence. But a lot of things just break. And it's not even they break, there's just nobody to fix them. You know, you kind of have to fix them yourself. So the water maker broke, which was obviously, like, you need water to do it. So, and then when we we couldn't fix the motor, which was shorting out our electrical system somehow. So we had to take the motor off the water maker, and then we had a emergency hand pump kit for it. But somehow they'd given us slightly the wrong parts with the hand pump kit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there's like pins in it. So we had to use like a jet boil that we use for boiling water. We were using that as a blowtorch to heat metal, to hammer out bits that we had to try and get this emergency hand pump kit onto the, to make it work. So when the water maker went down, we were hit by a big storm, so we couldn't do anything for like 2 days because it's really hard to fix things when the boat is tossing like 6 foot either way, you know. It's bad for delicate repairs. So once that calmed down after a few days, we managed to get all the tools we had and really kind of figure out how to kind of hammer, file, and make the thing work. So now we have, Ryan's done a fantastic job of mounting it up on the bulkhead in the bow. So now we just have to hand pump water for hours a day on top of rowing for 12 hours a day.
Well, you know what I was saying to the listeners, we have there's a reality show that's on in the UK called Love Island, and they seem to have been in this house for like months and months and months on end, and I was like, I don't know how people do it. How have you been getting on in the smallest of environments, in the biggest of swells, with, you know, all of these problems, a lack of water? How have you been getting on, and how have you been staying sane, and have there been frayed tempers?
No frayed tempers. A jet plane just flew right ahead. And it was like, I would say 40 foot above the boat. That was kind of crazy. No frayed tempers. We're definitely all in it together. You know, you're sharing kind of all of the burden together as it goes on. And like the highs and lows of this thing have just been like, we've thought we were going home twice. Once after the big breakdown, and then after the water maker. And like, when we fixed the water maker, you're so ecstatic, and you're sharing it with the other two men here, that it's like, you only have to look back at. I felt a little tired the other day, and looking back at how bad I felt when I thought this whole thing would be taken away from me, I just started laughing, you know. And we've just been in great form. I mean, anyone who looks at our Instagram, people give out to us on Instagram because we're having too much fun, because we're like shenanigans, too much shenanigans, they said. So we're posting these like fun videos and everything, and I don't know. We're having a good time.
You're having a good time. What are you looking at the moment when you're talking to me and you're looking at, what are you seeing? Is it just water and sky?
Water, sky, and this plane that keeps kind of dive bombing us at this moment. There's just a blue horizon line 360, and then the sky. And today we're pretty lucky because there's no fog. Because the first few days of the fog are scary. It's an eerie place, you know.
Yeah. And what about wildlife? Ray? Because we've been on Wally Watch here. There's a walrus who's kind of making his way all around the coast of Ireland, and we've been following him. Have you seen any beautiful wildlife?
It's been amazing. We've seen like dolphins every day. The craziest one that we seen about a week ago was we seen a blue whale came up right beside the boat, and it's an animal that kind of like to see itself, you know. It came up, it's 3 times the size of the boat, probably like 100 feet in length, and just the top of the whale itself, just like amazing. It came up really slowly, and then just went underneath the boat again, and we were all a bit slack-jawed when it happened. But amazing. Some just amazing experiences out here.
So have you had time to have those reflective moments, or has it been all hands on deck?
Oh, no. I mean, we're rowing 12 hours a day, and there's plenty of time when you're just rowing on your own. And it's as reflective as it gets, you know, when you're sitting under, we've never seen stars like it, you know, the whole Milky Way above you, rowing at night when it's clear. And say I row on my own from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. And it's a lot of time. A lot of time to think about a lot of things, for sure.
I mean, there's not a lot of people who will experience a challenge and an adventure like this. And it's, you know, we all have things on our bucket list. You made it happen. You're living your experience, if you like. Remind us why you're doing it and why you set off in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, we're all like adventure guys, you know, here on our own kind of personal quest, but we're definitely, I mean, we had talked before about doing it for the Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust and trying to help some other people, you know, and bring some awareness to some other causes. And another one came up that is very personal to myself, where a good friend of mine, Paddy McAndrew, who I know from New York, who's from Sligo at home, his mother discovered while they were on a trip to Mexico. Now, she felt a little ill, but while she was in Mexico, she discovered she had stage 4 cancer. And her condition kind of deteriorated so rapidly that she had to go immediately for treatment. And she's been there 2 months in hospital in Mexico, too weak to be able to be flown home. Now, she's doing a bit better now, but she's racking up huge medical bills and they really need her help to She needs 2 months more treatment, and then we need to get her transported home. Julia McAndrew. She's an amazing woman. I had Christmas dinner with her a few years ago, and I would really love to help them out. You know, like when you talk about like the hard way home, and this is the hard way home for her, and we really want to help out. And the links are in my Instagram bio, The Hard Way Home, and the Facebook and everything else.
Yeah, and we'll put them up on our social media accounts as well. Listen, fair play to you, Ray. I'm not going to ask you when you're due in Ireland, because you know what? Whenever you get here, you get here. What can I ask you just before I say goodbye? What do you miss the most?
We miss food. All we do is talk about food all day. Like, bread and butter. That's all I miss. I want, like, a sliced pan and some Kerrygold butter.
Oh.
Shout out Kerrygold.
Well, listen, if I know when you're coming in, I'll be down in Waterford in Kilmacthomas with a big loaf of bread, a big blah, and some Kerrygold butter for you. Stay safe, perfect. My friend, all right? Stay safe.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
My best to the lads.
The Ray D'Arcy Show on RTE Radio 1.